Serious, what are some things your parents will never understand about you, no matter how much you try to explain it? I have a full-time job that requires me to work full-time hours. I'm not available during the day because I'm working full-time. Oh god, I feel this one. My mom is a teacher, and every day at 3 PM I'll get a Discord message saying how late are you working today? 5 PM. Every day but Monday, 6 PM, and Friday, 4 PM. This is not going to change anytime soon. I'm surprised that you and your mom use Discord. It's not nearly as easy to buy a house or start a family as it used to be. You used to be able to get a decent job without a college degree, good enough to purchase a house and have a family. It's not the same anymore. My dad just refuses to believe that the cost of living far exceeds the average salary and is not like it was back when he was growing up. I used facts and figures. I calculated percentages and showed him the average price of houses vs the average salary. I showed him the 500% increase in college tuition. He refuses to believe it. He really believes that people my age are just lazy and want handouts. I think for a lot of people around that age it's not that they don't understand, although that's what they'll let you think. It's that they don't want to admit they had it easier. They'll never understand that providing food and shelter isn't enough on its own to qualify as good parenting. My parents, although they also throw in a good school, yep, most kids also got love and toys/stuff, etc. They think good school plus FOOD plus BED was enough. Yes, it is more than most, but not exactly the top life. The toys/stuff didn't mean shit. I'm pretty privileged, and I shouldn't complain, but damn am I alone in this teching world. That I give them good and informed advice, they would take the same advice I gave them from a random stranger, after refusing to take it from me for years. It's a psychological thing. Once you are giving them direction, it's one foot in the grave for them. They judge my taste in music, shows, entertainment, the way I act, etc. from the way I was 15 years ago. It's like they don't understand that I have greatly improved and changed as a person. My mom still wholeheartedly believes I'm a huge fan of Taylor Swift. I haven't sought out any of her music in a solid 6 years. But for real though, check out Folklore and Evermore. Especially Folklore. They are such amazing albums and emotional pieces of work with amazing production and heartfelt lyrics. It's also a departure from her more pop works, so if that's what you grew up and fell out with, then these albums should be for you. This is coming from someone who used to not really like Taylor Swift, and as a teen, unfairly disliked her music for being too pop. Mom has Alzheimer's, which never gets better. It's just a matter of how bad it gets and how quickly it progresses. So, unfortunately, the list of things mom doesn't understand is ever growing. The top of the list is not understanding that she in fact has Alzheimer's. She thinks the neurologist is a quack and that has the crazy one. She also doesn't understand why I won't let her drive. The day I sold her car brought me huge relief. Close bracket. The everyday hurdles are frustrating. For example, she frequently inadvertently turns down the ringer volume on her phone and then misses calls. When I tell her the cause of the problem, she just insists that the goddamn phone is broken and it's the fault of those bastards at AT&T. To be fair, there are a fair number of bastards at AT&T. She's kind of a basic crab, a GL but Thalf MT kind of gal. It makes me envious of my neighbor, whose mother is in a similar situation, but is apparently as happy as could be. She leaves her apartment early every day and spends the entire day socializing with other residents. Meanwhile, my mom is sitting in her apartment staring at CNN, zeroing in on all that's wrong in the world, or complaining to someone about something. Ironically, that's how my mom spends her days, except she doesn't live in an apartment, and she doesn't have Alzheimer's. Usually when her election doesn't work out, or the wrong guy gets into the Senate or the government in general, she takes her anger out on me. However, my grandma also has Alzheimer's, and it's been hard on my family as a whole. I wish the best for you and your family though. You got this. Thank you. Yes, before the Alzheimer's, mom also had a negative attitude. I'm not an expert, but I suspect Alzheimer's in some ways tends to magnify thesis traits. If you're basically a happy person, maybe it amplifies that. If you're negative, that also seems amplified. Making friends isn't the ducking same anymore. Like people are judgmental and shit. Shoot up. I have a chronic illness, an autoimmune disease, that I will have forever. There is no cure. There is no when. Will you get better? This is with me for the rest of my life. My dad got cancer, and I figured that would make them see how it worked. But now he's in remission and they just cannot fathom that a disease is with someone forever. They don't get it. Same. On the autoimmune disease. Oh, you're still sick? Yes. 9 years later, and for the rest of my life. And then some people question if your illness is real, or if you're just faking it. That I'm a good person, wife and mother. I'm not the character she created for me in her mind when I was a child. I'm not selfish, ungrateful, manipulative or a user. I was not a bad child, and I'm not a bad daughter. 3 years no contact, because she will never see the situation as it is, and deal with her own unresolved trauma and narcissism. You write very succinctly that my mental disorders are not exactly like this, and that they aren't something I can just get over. I've had to put up with so many years of unintentional abuse because of it. Same here. Also, my dad is always telling me, but why are you bad if you have everything you need? And no matter how much I explain, he doesn't understand. Isn't my fault. I feel you, bro. My parents refuse to believe that I have did. No amount of persuading them will convince them. We'll hopefully cut them out soon. Well, my mom recently got a gaming PC so she could play games with me. This has been going for a couple months now. Here are some things she still doesn't understand. 1. Look at the waypoint and walk towards it. 2. In most games, if you jump off of a cliff, you will die. 3. I'll let you know if we have to go back the way we came. 4. No, that's not the right way. That's the way we came from. 5. I've got a marker above my head. If you can't find me, don't just go in a random direction. Because you're always wrong when you do that. Look around before you start moving. 6. You need to look all the way around. Don't just turn back and forth in a 90-degree cone and declare I've disappeared because I'm behind you. 7. If you stand in one place without moving, you are far more likely to be shot. 8. In Halo, it will show you on your HUD if you're currently able to swap your weapon and what weapon you're going to swap it for. Pay attention to that, not what you're looking at. The game doesn't care what gun you're looking at. This is why you keep picking up shitty guns instead of good ones. Still mad points for trying this. I understand where the annoyance, but she is still way over the average. No, I will not be going to college. I don't care if that's how you measure success. I can't afford it. Never mind that I have a job I love and I make above average in my field. Admittedly, that's not a lot. However, my bosses care about me and make sure me and my family are taken care of. My kids are happy and healthy. They each have their own room, and I tuck them into bed every night. All of our bills are paid, and I'm not in debt. I'm sure I'm happier in life, overall, than my father is. Fuck you for thinking this life I've worked so hard to build by myself is somehow worthless. BC, I don't have a college degree. As a college student, I feel happy for you. Success should be measured by one's hard work, not by whether they went to college or not. Remind them that some of the richest people are college dropouts. Just because I have a post-secondary education in STEM doesn't mean I know every detail of what goes into a vaccine. I do too, and I don't even remember anything I studied anymore. I don't believe in science. I understand it. My parents are convinced science works just like a belief in a higher power and can't be convinced otherwise. They refuse to see the difference between faith, as in, I have faith that this higher power I've never seen has influence over my life, and science, as in I understand these basic chemical reactions and processes and I have the ability to learn more about how it works if I so choose. It's all basically magic to them. In R2, 672, 423rd argument about belief versus evidence. I finally maneuvered my mother into admitting that her beliefs are not based on an unbiased appraisal of reality, but on what reality she hopes is true, and nothing more. She admitted it. She understood. The veil was lifted from her eyes. Then she said she didn't care, and went anyway. The interdimensional angel alien said, apostrophe, you have to accept that at root, they're fundamentally not interested in the truth. We think it's what's the best way of figuring out the truth, belief, or science, but for them, that isn't even the premise. It has nothing to do with finding out what's true. It's purely about comfort. What's the best way to achieve a comfortable worldview? Is the question to which belief is their answer. It's not about convincing them religion is bad or irrational. They're grown but adults. If they want to believe in the king lizard people, that's up to them. My only issue is they refuse to understand that science is not a magic that requires belief or faith to function in the same way God does. Online games can't be paused FFS. I've luckily gotten my parents to understand this. Granted, we didn't really play anything online until about 2010 or 2011, so it makes sense. But yeah, whenever my parents would call for me and my brothers for dinner, they'd get upset if we didn't show up within the minute. Now they understand that we'll be there as soon as we can, and if they want to start without me, they're free to do so. How much I love them. I have good parents. My dad plays the state lottery and Powerball twice a week, every week, and has for 20 years. I think the most he ever won at one time was maybe $40. My wife and I love going to the casino, but not lately obviously. We don't have gambling problems and only play what we are willing to lose. Many times we have come home with thousands of dollars in winnings. Anytime we relate this, Dad just gets his disapproving tone and says I've never set foot in a casino. Apostrophe. Fine Dad. Enjoy your $40. I come from a very poor single parent family. I'm well educated, and I have a decent middle CL job. I'm extremely motivated and driven to do more. I'm very ambitious. Every time I talk to her she tells me how proud of me she is for getting to where I am. When I tell her that I'm going to pick up more certifications, push for better jobs, or devote time to monetizing my side projects, she tells me that I'm focusing on the wrong things and that I should instead focus on being comfortable and happy. Find a girl and settle down ECT. I feel like her and her whole generation, working CL but Northerners in England, had so little opportunity in their time that their focus has been to try and find happiness in whatever circumstance, even abject poverty. Why? It's not true for me, and frankly, why I can't live like that. I wish she would understand that I'm pursuing happiness. It's just different to her understanding of what that looks like. My parents are incredible and did a fantastic job raising my siblings and me. That's my disclaimer so this doesn't get interpreted as the usual parent hate I see here. That being said, my parents will simply never understand that I don't have the same devotion to the extended family as they do. I grew up with a huge family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends, etc. that got together weekly. We had get-togethers for literally every holiday, Super Bowl, Street, Patty's Day, Cinco de Mayo, as well as all the major ones. It was cool as a kid, don't get me wrong, but as an adult, I really don't care to see many of them so often. It's a fight each time my kids have a birthday because I'd like to involve just my parents and my wife's, and they simply can't understand why I wouldn't want to invite all my uncles, aunts, and cousins. As an example, one time my dad invited me to go to a ball game with him. I was so excited because a little hangout time with my dad is always a real treat. When I showed up to their house to get ready to go, there were 3 of my uncles and his friend. I was so deflated. Not that they're bad people, but I was looking forward to some quality dad time. But every time I relay this to them, they interpret my indifference toward my extended family as an offense to them. They respond with the usual parent, we taught you better. Where did we go wrong? And that's stupid, because they didn't go wrong anywhere when raising me. But that's such a stupid benign thing to be miffed about. I feel this in my soul. I married into a family that's very big, very close and full of extroverts. I'm as introverted as they come. It seems like every other weekend there's a birthday or some other made up excuse to have a big get together with lots of socializing and small talk. It's so damn exhausting. We just spent the last 2 weeks all hanging out all day, almost every day. Now my birthday is coming up next weekend and they are busy making plans for a party, when all I really want is to be left alone and have a quiet day without socializing. But I don't dare say that, because they will never understand or attempt to understand how I feel about it. Rather, they will just take it as a major insult. Sigh. I feel yeah, I really do. I like to throw my kids' birthdays at my parents because they are the best party planners. Part of the whole issue. Really. But as soon as I start planning I get a lot of "you don't want uncle so and so there?" Question mark? Question mark? What makes it harder is I'm an identical twin. And my brother understands me, in ways, much better than even my wife. We are best buds. Birthdays for me are stressful because my wife and kids want to do the whole day thing with me. Then there's my brother who I always want to do a twin thing with, since we share the day. And lastly, there's my parents who want to do something with both their birthday boys and daughters-in-law accompanying. Sometimes I want to not have a birthday. Edit. I'm fully aware and acknowledge that my problem is something many people wish they had. A family that loves them too much is not much of a problem in the grand scheme of things. But that privilege doesn't come without stresses. 1. I really need my privacy. 2. I want to keep my drawings private. 3. I love games and I just want to play them once in a while. 4. I'm an introvert. My father not understanding that not every time you can learn from other people's mistakes. Sometimes you need to make the mistakes to understand better. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.